Have you ever wondered why some elderly people can remain calm amidst countless annoyances, while others get easily upset over a passing comment? As we grow older, peace of mind is no longer something that comes by chance. It becomes a choice, a skill that must be cultivated. Unsolicited advice, excessive interference, or even poorly timed phone calls can silently wear down our mental well-being each day. But what if you could learn to set boundaries, protect your personal space, and live a life of true serenity, free from unwanted disturbances? In today's video, we'll share the most practical and thoughtful tips to help older adults preserve their inner peace, not just through actions, but also in mindset. Be sure to hit subscribe and stay with us until the end of the video to discover 8 powerful ways that could transform how you live the rest of your life in the most peaceful way possible. Third, learn to let go of the need for everyone's approval. When we're young, we often crave recognition from parents, friends, coworkers, even strangers. But as we grow older, we begin to realize that this desire is not only exhausting but also unnecessary. Not everyone will understand you, like you, or agree with how you live your life, and that's completely okay. Letting go of the need for universal approval doesn't mean becoming selfish or indifferent. On the contrary, it means you're starting to respect yourself. You begin to understand that your worth doesn't come from how others see you, but from the quiet place within, where you know you're living true to your conscience, your values, and your truth. Some people will never see your efforts. Some will only remember your mistakes and forget all the good you've done. And some will only love you as long as you meet their expectations. But you don't need to prove anything to those people. You don't need to change who you are just to be liked. Because real love doesn't ask you to bend over backwards to become someone else. Remember, life is too short to live by someone else's script. When you pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because I truly want to, or because I'm afraid of being judged? That's when you begin to reclaim your own life. And that's a turning point. Because the older you get, the more you realize that you don't need everyone's approval, just your own. You can choose to wear what makes you feel comfortable, live in a way that makes you happy, and spend time with people who bring you peace, even if that upsets a few others. But keep in mind, true peace never comes from trying to please everyone. It comes from living in alignment with your true self. Think of it like a suitcase you've been carrying your entire life. Every expectation, every opinion, every criticism, they're like small stones added to that suitcase. When you're young, you believe you can carry it all. But as age catches up and your strength fades, you suddenly realize you don't have to carry it anymore. You can set that suitcase down. You can gently pick out only what you need, self-respect, gratitude, understanding, and leave the rest behind. The cold stares, the uninvited comments, the unreasonable expectations, they aren't yours. And you are not responsible for carrying them any further. I know it's not easy. Many people spend their entire lives chasing approval, trying to do what's right. But just imagine the feeling of freedom when you walk into a room and don't have to play any role. Just being yourself, with your past, your growth, and the scars that have shaped who you are today. You'll be surprised to find that when you stop chasing approval, you start attracting the people who truly matter, those who love you for who you really are, not for the role you play. And you also begin to love yourself more because you finally dare to be yourself, not a copy of someone else's expectations. So if you're feeling pressured to please everyone, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because I genuinely want to, or because I'm afraid of being rejected? If the answer is fear, then maybe it's time to let go. Releasing the need to please others might just be the bravest thing you can do for yourself. And when you do that, you don't become cold, you become honest. You don't lose anyone. You simply let go of those who don't accept the real you. And that's not a loss. That's freedom. Mastering the pause before reacting is not a sign of weakness. It is a testament to maturity. When you're young, it's easy to be pulled into immediate reactions. You want to respond, to defend, to prove you're right. But the older you get, the more you realize, not every reaction is necessary. Here's a hard truth that becomes increasingly important with age. Not every word deserves a reply, and not everyone is worthy of your precious energy. Pausing is an act of wisdom. It gives you time to check in with your emotions. Why am I reacting? Am I carrying old wounds? Will this response be helpful? In just a few seconds of stillness, you can shift an entire pattern of destructive behavior into a moment of healing. And you'll be surprised to find that, most of the time, you don't need to say anything at all. Just stay silent, breathe deeply, and choose not to engage. That is strength. I remember an 82-year-old man once told me, "Youth is for fighting, old age is for filtering." I used to react to everything, a disapproving look, a sarcastic comment, I'd take it straight to heart. But now I choose to stand outside of it. Not because I don't care, but because I've learned that peace is more valuable than ego. You see, sometimes the wisest thing you can do isn't to win the argument, but to walk away with peace. Sometimes the bravest thing isn't to retaliate, but to smile and move on. Life will keep testing you. There will always be people who are unhappy. But you don't need to answer every knock on the door. Let your calm be your reply. The pause is also a gift to yourself. It allows you to regain your breath, to see the full picture. And in that small space, you reclaim a bit of control. In a world that's increasingly impatient, where everyone rushes to speak and react, the one who can pause becomes the leader, not driven by impulsive emotion, but by clear awareness. The beauty of this is, you don't have to be perfect to practice it. There will be times you say things you regret, times you still overreact. But every time you remember that you can pause, you're training yourself in a remarkable power, the power to choose your response instead of being chosen by your reaction. That's why elders who have weathered life's storms aren't necessarily the loudest. They're the ones who know when to stay quiet. Those who've walked through chaos aren't the ones shouting in anger. They're the ones standing still in grace. Their silence is not an escape, but a conscious act of guarding their heart. So, if you ever find yourself being pulled into heated conversations, if someone does something that triggers an immediate reaction, remember this. You have the right to pause. Take a deep breath. Return to yourself. Will my reaction bring me peace or just more pain? Sometimes, in that one moment when you choose not to react, you are already healing something deep within you. If you're still reading and this message resonates with you, leave a number 5 in the comments below so I know we're walking this journey together. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to hit that button and turn on notifications, not because we need numbers, but because you deserve to be part of a space where we learn, heal, and grow gently, one day at a time. 8th, understand that peace does not come from controlling everything around you, but from the ability to let go of what is beyond your reach. This is a lesson many people spend their whole lives trying to grasp. When we are young, we often try to control the outcome, try to change others, try to adjust circumstances to fit our expectations. But the longer you live, the more you realize a simple truth. Some things cannot be fixed, some people cannot be changed, and some situations are not meant for you to alter. They are meant for you to learn to adapt to and overcome. I remember once sitting with a lady named Evelyn, 78 years old, who had run a small bakery for nearly 40 years. Her life was far from smooth. Her husband passed away early, one of her sons struggled with addiction, and her shop had to close during the economic crisis. I asked her how she managed to keep such a calm spirit and a radiant face. She smiled gently and said, "You know, there were times I thought if I tried a little harder, sacrificed a little more, things would get better. But then I learned that sacrifice doesn't always save the situation. Sometimes what you need to do is just leave things be and let yourself breathe." That sentence stuck in my mind. Because it is the essence of emotional maturity, knowing when to hold on and when to let go. Not letting go out of defeat, but letting go to free yourself. Letting go of harsh words that don't need a response. Letting go of unrealistic expectations. Letting go of relationships that drain you every time you try to connect. And when you let go, you regain something precious, inner space. Space to listen to yourself. Space to heal. Space to realize that you still deserve a gentle and meaningful life, no matter how complicated your past has been. Interestingly, when you stop trying to control everything, life becomes gentler. You realize the weather can be bad, but you can carry an umbrella. Others may not be kind, but you can still be courteous. The world around you may be chaotic, but inside you can remain steady. And that steadiness, it doesn't come from the outside world. It comes from everything you've learned on your journey through life. You no longer need to win every argument. You don't have to prove you're right. You don't need to hold on to what weighs down your soul. Because you know, peace is a choice, not a reward. It's not the result of perfect circumstances. It's the result of an inner strength that says, I don't have to react to everything. I choose to preserve my calm. Try to think of the years you have left as a room, and you hold the only key. Who will you invite in? What will you keep? Decorate that room with what brings you lightness, genuine laughter, peaceful mornings, people who treat you with respect. And when someone knocks on the door with chaos or demands, you have the right to choose. Open the door, or keep your inner peace safe. Because at some point, you will realize, the most precious thing isn't who likes you, who listens to you, or how successful you are, but whether your mind is at peace. Can you sit alone and feel calm? If yes, you have come a long way. And you fully deserve that. You have overcome so much to arrive at this day. Losses, changes, countless sleepless nights, and mornings when you still woke up, brewed a cup of tea, and carried on living. This doesn't come from books or dry advice. It's distilled from the very days you have lived with resilience. That's why, when someone utters words that hurt you or shows disrespect, you no longer feel the need to react fiercely as before. Instead, you quietly ask yourself, compared to what I have endured, is this worth my energy? And more often than not, you find the answer is, no. This is not indifference. It is wisdom. It is the recognition of the value of peace, something you have paid for with many years, countless wounds, and growth through hardship. When you have learned to stand on your past with pride, instead of forcing yourself to hide it, you no longer need anyone's approval. Because you understand that those who don't know your life story have no right to judge your life. As you pass your 60s, 70s, or 80s, you begin to understand that peace does not come from trying to change others, but from choosing who is allowed into your inner world. You no longer feel the need to sit in a room where you aren't heard. You no longer want to waste a beautiful afternoon engaging with those who only blame or spread negativity. Like a garden, you begin to nurture relationships that make your soul bloom and quietly uproot those that make you wither. You can love someone from afar. You can remain polite without necessarily keeping a place for them in your life. You are not selfish. You are protecting the calm within you, the calm you have spent a lifetime seeking. This is not cutting off. This is redefining your boundaries. And the miracle is, when you practice this choice consistently, you will see your life brighten. No more meetings that leave you exhausted. No more calls ending in heaviness. Instead, there are people who make you feel like yourself. No need to perform, no need to pretend to be strong. Think of your energy as a small flame in the wind. Everyone wants to come close to feel its warmth, but not everyone is gentle enough to keep it from going out. And you have the right to decide who deserves to be warmed and who should only watch from afar. The more you cherish your peace, the more you attract those who know how to keep the flame burning with you. No more complaints, no more unreasonable expectations. Only grateful eyes when you enter the room, genuine questions that listen, and moments of sincere silence. Life is not as long as we once thought. The present days are a reward for all that you have endured. So why let that precious time be taken over by things that make you feel small? Spend your remaining moments doing what makes you feel alive. Gardening, reading, chatting with a grandchild, or simply sitting quietly beside someone who makes you feel safe.